I think that this match could have gone either way. I don't think there was a huge shift in momentum at any point.
So remember when we talked about Eala playing doubles at Indian Wells alongside American teenager Iva Jovic? I literally called it a subplot in my last video. I said the storylines at this tournament just kept stacking on top of each other, and I was genuinely excited to see how it would play out. Well, that subplot is over now, and it ended a lot faster than any of us probably expected. Alex and Iva were knocked out in the round of 32 by the team of Hailey Baptiste and Jelena Ostapenko. The score was 6-2, 6-2. Straight sets done in just about 1 hour. It was not close, not even a little bit. Before we get into everything, if you are new here and you love watching tennis, especially when it comes to following young players like Eala on the rise, please hit that subscribe button right now. We cover every match, every storyline, every dramatic moment. And trust me, with players like Alex in the draw, there is never a shortage of drama. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and join the community. Now, let's get into it. To really understand what happened in this doubles match, you have to understand the context around it, because there is a lot more going on here than just a scoreline. This match had history, it had narrative layers, and it had a very clear lesson about the difference between singles tennis and doubles tennis, which are two sports that share a court but honestly feel like completely different games once you get deep enough into them. Let's start with where Eala was coming into this match. At the time she stepped onto the doubles court, she was riding the biggest wave of her career. She had just come off an absolutely brutal, beautiful, exhausting singles match against Diana Schneider, a 3-set war that lasted 2 hours and 43 minutes. That match had 6 deuces in the final game alone. There were 4 match points. Every Filipino fan watching in California was on the edge of their seat, barely breathing. It was the kind of tennis match that you do not forget easily. Alex won it through sheer willpower, grit, and a refusal to give up even when the match was slipping away from her. That win pushed Alex to a new career high ranking of number 28 in the world. It was also her first ever main draw win at Indian Wells, which is one of the biggest tournaments on the WTA calendar outside of the Grand Slams. And on top of all that, she had a match against world number 4 Coco Gauff waiting for her in the next round of singles. So Alex was not exactly coming into this doubles match with nothing on her mind. She was in the middle of the tournament of her life, and doubles was an additional layer on an already full plate. Her partner, Iva Jovic, is a genuinely impressive doubles player in her own right. She's only 18 years old, born and raised in the United States, and she is already ranked number 20 in the world in doubles. That is not a fluke ranking. That is a player who understands how doubles works, who knows how to communicate with a partner, who understands formations and net positioning, and when to poach and when to hold her position. Iva knows the game. She and Alex have paired up before, and by all accounts, they have a real friendship, a genuine connection that you would expect to translate well onto the doubles court. On paper, this pairing had real potential. Two young players who like each other, both with talent, both hungry, playing under the California sun at one of the best events in tennis. You could easily imagine them going on a nice run, feeding off each other's energy, maybe pulling off a surprise or two. That is what made this match worth watching before it even started. But as anyone who follows tennis knows, potential on paper and results on the court are two very different things. And on this particular Sunday, Alex and Iva ran straight into a wall. That wall had 2 names, Hailey Baptiste and Jelena Ostapenko. And this is where the story really gets interesting, because this was not some random doubles pairing that got lucky and caught Alex and Iva on an off day. This was a genuinely dangerous team, and understanding who these two players are tells you a lot about why the match went the way it did. Hailey Baptiste is a 23-year-old American who has been grinding on the WTA Tour for several years now. She's the kind of player who does not give you anything for free. Every point has to be earned. She's smart, she's competitive, and she knows how doubles is supposed to be played. She's not flashy, but she's effective, and in doubles, effective beats flashy most of the time. Baptiste is the kind of partner that makes your job easier because she handles her business and she handles it quietly. And then there's Jelena Ostapenko. If you know tennis, you already know the name. If you're newer to the sport, let me fill you in. Ostapenko won the French Open in 2017 when she was just 20 years old. She came out of nowhere. Nobody had won the French Open as an unseeded player in the Open era before her, and she just went out there and dismantled everyone in her path. She hits the ball harder and flatter than almost anyone on the women's tour. When she's swinging freely, the ball comes off her racket with so much pace and so little spin that it stays low and skids through the court before the other player can react. She does not do careful. She does not do safe. She hits, she attacks, and she does it at a level that very few players in the world can match. Ostapenko is also a former US Open doubles champion, and she's been ranked as high as number 5 in the world in singles. This is a complete player, someone who has performed at the highest level the sport has to offer, in multiple formats, on multiple surfaces. She is not someone you want to face when your own doubles partnership is still finding its rhythm.
Now here is the part of this story that makes it drip with narrative, the part that gives this match a layer of meaning beyond just the scoreline. This is the exact same Jelena Ostapenko that Eala beat during her legendary Miami Open wildcard run last year. You might remember that tournament if you have been following Alex for a while. She came into Miami as a wildcard, which means she had to earn her way into the main draw just to compete, and once she got in, she went on a run that shocked the tennis world. She beat Elina Evanesian, she beat Jelena Ostapenko, and then she beat Madison Keys. 3 players who have won Grand Slam titles, all in one tournament, all beaten by Eala on a wildcard entry. That Miami run was the moment that changed Alex's career. It put her on the map in a way that no result had done before. It announced to the tennis world that this young Filipino player was not just a promising prospect, she was a genuine threat. And Ostapenko was one of the players who felt that firsthand. Players at this level have very long memories. They remember the matches that did not go their way. They remember the players who beat them. And tennis has a strange and satisfying way of bringing people back together at unexpected moments. This time it was across a doubles net, and Ostapenko came ready to compete. From the very first game, the Baptiste and Ostapenko teams set the tone of the match. They were aggressive right from the start. They moved well, they communicated clearly between points, and they covered the court as a single unit rather than 2 individual players sharing a space. That kind of chemistry is not something you can fake, and it is not something that happens automatically just because 2 good players agree to team up. It is built through matches, through repetition, through learning how your partner thinks and moves and reacts under pressure. When Ostapenko was at the net, she was putting away volleys with the kind of confidence and precision that comes from having played thousands of doubles points at the highest level. She was not hesitating, she was not second-guessing. She saw the ball, she moved to it, and she put it away. When Baptiste was serving, she was placing the ball exactly where she wanted it, setting up the point for herself and her partner. Everything clicked for this pair. The whole match, from start to finish, they looked like a well-oiled machine. Meanwhile, Alex and Iva were struggling to stay in rallies. The timing between them looked a little off. The communication was not as smooth as it needed to be. There were moments where you could see them both hesitate on the same ball, or both hold their position when one of them should have been more aggressive. In doubles, those tiny margins matter enormously. Half a step late on a decision to poach at the net, a split second of uncertainty before committing to a shot, a little too much caution when the situation called for boldness. Against a team as sharp and as experienced as Baptiste and Ostapenko, those small margins are the difference between a competitive match and getting rolled. Alex and Iva got rolled. The first set was over in about 25 minutes, 6-2. This is a good moment to talk about something that I think is really important for understanding why this result happened and why it should not be viewed as some major cause for concern. Doubles tennis and singles tennis are genuinely different sports. I know that sounds like an exaggeration, and yes, they use the same ball, the same net, and mostly the same rules. But the way you play them, the skills that make you successful, and the mindset required are fundamentally different. In singles, Eala is a grinder. She lives at the baseline. She is patient. She extends rallies, forces opponents to hit extra shots, and waits for the moment when she can take control of the point. She absorbs pressure and redirects it. She is mentally tough in a way that allows her to stay calm when the match is on the line. That is what makes her a top 30 player in the world. That grinding, baseline-oriented, mentally durable style is perfectly suited for singles tennis, where matches can last 2 or 3 hours and the player who stays focused the longest usually wins. Doubles is built on a completely different set of requirements. Points in doubles are short, much shorter than in singles. The court is wider because the doubles alleys are in play, which creates sharper angles. There is a player standing at the net on the other side of the court at almost all times, ready to cut off anything that is not placed precisely. You cannot grind in doubles. You cannot rely on patience and baseline consistency. You have to be decisive from the very first shot of every rally. You have to attack. You have to trust your partner completely, knowing where they're going to be without having to look, reading their body language and their positioning instinctively. That kind of trust and that kind of reflexive understanding of a partner takes time to develop. It takes matches. It takes repetition. Alex and Iva have some history together as a doubles team, but they simply weren't at the level of connection and chemistry needed to compete with Baptiste and Ostapenko on this day. And honestly, given everything else going on for both of them at this tournament, that's completely understandable. The second set started very much the way the first one ended. Baptiste and Ostapenko surged out to a 4-1 lead, and it looked like the match was heading for a very quick conclusion. But then, to their credit, Alex and Iva scratched out another game to make it 4-2. For about 30 seconds, you could feel the faintest flicker of hope. This is the same Alex Eala who came back from a breakdown in the third set against Schneider just 2 days earlier. She has shown over and over again this season that she does not give up, that her fighting spirit can carry her through moments when the match looks like it's slipping away. But Baptiste and Ostapenko shut that door immediately. They won the next 2 games and took the second set 6-2. Match over. 1 hour on the clock. Just like that, the doubles chapter at Indian Wells 2026 was closed for Alex Eala and Iva Jovic. Now, I want to be very clear about something here, and I mean this genuinely. Nobody should be panicking about this result, not even slightly. Here's why.
Doubles has never been Alex Eala's primary focus, and it is not going to be. She is a singles player. That is where her ranking is built, that is where her career trajectory is pointed, and that is where she is putting the vast majority of her energy and attention. Playing doubles at a tournament like Indian Wells gives her extra court time, extra match practice, a chance to build relationships with other players on the tour, and occasionally the opportunity to pick up some extra ranking points and prize money. But it is not the main event for her. The main event is singles, and in singles, at this exact tournament, she is having the best week of her professional career. World number 28 at 20 years old, a brand new career-high ranking, her first ever Indian Wells main draw win already secured, and a singles match against Coco Gauff still ahead of her. That is the story. That is the headline. A first-round doubles exit does not change any of that, especially not when you lost to a team as experienced and as capable as Hailey Baptiste and Jelena Ostapenko. And let's be honest about who beat them. Ostapenko has won Grand Slams in both singles and doubles. She is not a player you are supposed to beat when your partnership is still in the early stages of figuring itself out. Her flat, aggressive ball striking is actually perfect for doubles because it gives the opposing team almost no time to react. The ball comes in too fast, too low, and with too little margin for error. Even experienced doubles teams have trouble handling Ostapenko when she is playing well. Alex and Iva, with their relatively limited time together as a pair, were always going to face a steep challenge against this particular opponent. This match also officially brings Iva Jovic's entire Indian Wells 2026 campaign to a close. She had already been eliminated from the singles draw earlier after losing to Colombia's Camila Osorio. So both events are done for the 18-year-old American. But here's the thing about Iva. She is 18 years old. She has an entire career ahead of her. She will be back at Indian Wells for the next decade and beyond. Every match she plays at this level, even the ones that end early, teaches her something. Every loss sharpens her. Every tournament adds another layer of experience that she will be able to draw on as her career develops. And teaming up with Alex Eala, even for just one match, only strengthens the bond between them for future opportunities. These two are going to keep crossing paths on the tour, and every time they do, they're going to know each other a little better, trust each other a little more. That is how partnerships in doubles are built over time. So, the doubles chapter at Indian Wells 2026 is now officially closed. It lasted one match, 1 hour, 6-2, 6-2. A tough draw, a quick exit, and an honest reminder of just how difficult doubles tennis is at this level when you are not yet fully in sync with your partner and you're running into a team that has everything clicking. There is no shame in losing to Ostapenko when Ostapenko is bringing her very best. That is just tennis. But the singles chapter? That story is still being written. Eala is still in the tournament. She has already done things at Indian Wells this year that she has never done before. She has beaten players she has never beaten before at this stage. She has shown that her Miami Open performance last year was not a one-time lightning strike, but a sign of where her level genuinely is. Every match she has played in singles this week has proved that she belongs in this draw, that she belongs at this level, that she is not here just to make up the numbers. If there is one thing this entire season has shown us about Eala, from beating Jasmine Paolini in Dubai to surviving that epic three-setter against Schneider right here at Indian Wells, it is that she does not back down from anyone. Rankings do not intimidate her. Reputations do not scare her. She walks onto the court against the very best players in the world, and she competes every single time with everything she has. The doubles chapter closed after 1 hour, but the singles chapter, that story is just getting started. And I genuinely cannot wait to see what comes next.